Did you know there's a part of the Bible that's so bold, so dramatic? Many say it was removed because it sounded more like a movie than scripture. A widow, a mighty general, a sword, and a shocking act that saved an entire nation. This isn't a myth. This is the story of Judith, the woman who walked into the enemy's camp and came back with the head of the most feared general of her time. Judith's story begins when the Assyrian king, Nebuchadnezzar, sent his most powerful general, Holofernes, to crush all nations who did not submit to his rule. He was ruthless, unstoppable, and feared by all. One city after another surrendered or fell to his army. His campaign of terror moved across the land like a storm. Eventually, his army came to a small town called Bethulia, a town that stood between him and Jerusalem. If Bethulia fell, the path to the heart of Israel would be open. Holofernes surrounded Bethulia and cut off its water supply. He didn't attack, he waited. The people inside the city became desperate. Without water, they began to lose hope. Hunger and thirst weakened their spirits. Fear set in. Inside the walls, the elders of the city gathered to discuss surrender. They had held out for days, but their strength was fading. Many believed that God had abandoned them. But not everyone lost faith. There was a woman in Bethulia. Her name was Judith. She wasn't a soldier or a priest. She was a widow. Her husband had died years earlier, and since then she had lived a quiet life of prayer and fasting. She wore sackcloth, mourned daily, and spent her days in devotion to God. Judith was known for her beauty, but more than that, for her wisdom and integrity. When she heard that the city leaders were planning to surrender, she was shocked. She sent for them and delivered a powerful message. She reminded them that God had not abandoned them, but they were failing him with their lack of faith. She warned them not to test God or put a deadline on his deliverance. Then she announced something bold. She had a plan. No one knew what she was about to do. She asked the people to pray for her, and then she began to prepare. Judith removed her widow's clothing. She bathed, anointed herself with oil, dressed in her finest garments, and adorned herself with jewelry. She looked radiant, regal, like a queen. Her transformation wasn't for attention. It was for strategy. She knew the power of appearance in the enemy's eyes. With her maid, Judith walked out of the city gates, straight into the hands of the enemy. The Assyrian soldiers stopped her. But when she claimed to have important information for General Holofernes, they escorted her through the camp. When Holofernes saw her, he was stunned. He had never seen a woman so beautiful. Judith bowed before him and told him a carefully crafted story, that the Israelites were about to sin against their God, and she wanted to help him seize the opportunity to destroy them. She promised to guide him and report on the Israelites' movements. Holofernes believed her. Over the next few days, she stayed in his camp. He granted her freedom to come and go. She fasted, prayed, and maintained her purity, all while earning his trust. The more time he spent with her, the more enchanted he became. He wanted her. Then came the night of the banquet. Holofernes held a private feast and invited Judith. He drank heavily. He drank more than usual, hoping to impress her or perhaps seduce her. But Judith had a different plan. As the night wore on, Holofernes became drunk, completely unaware, completely vulnerable. He passed out in his bed. Judith stood over him. The room was silent. Her maid waited outside. Judith had brought no weapon with her. But on the table beside the general was his own sword. Judith reached for it. Her hands trembled, but her mind was focused. She took the sword, and with all her strength, struck his neck. It took 2 blows. Then, silence. Judith wrapped his severed head in a cloth and placed it in the food bag her maid carried. They calmly left the tent and walked through the camp gates as usual. No one stopped them. As dawn broke over Bethulia, the city gates opened, and there was Judith, holding the head of the general who had terrorized the world. The people were speechless. Then they wept. Then they rejoiced. Judith told them everything, how God had delivered their enemy into her hands. They hung Holofernes' head on the city wall. When the Assyrian soldiers woke and found their general dead, they panicked. Confusion spread through the camp. Without their leader, they fled in chaos. Israelite forces then pursued and defeated them. Bethulia was saved. Israel was saved. All because of one woman's courage, strategy, and faith. Judith became a national hero. Songs were written about her. She was honored for generations. But she didn't seek fame. After the victory, she returned to her home, resumed her life of prayer, and never remarried.